In this video, we're going to get a little bit more personal as I'm going to share with you my story. How a Guatemalan girl left Guatemala, ended up in Germany, and why I'm actually staying here for good, hopefully. Hey, I'm Jen, and I'm from Guatemala.
And I'm Yvonne, and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we help expats settle into life in Germany more smoothly. So what is the point of this video? We decided to do this video to motivate people like me that have been in a situation where not everything in life is just granted, right? You need to fight very hard to actually have economical stability, governmental stability, and so on. So this is kind of like the video I wish I would have seen when I was in my 20s of someone that is on the other side of what my dream was when I was very young.
And this is also to for you, if your dream is or your goal is to live and work in Germany or any other country really, that there is not always a direct way, but sometimes you need to do some detours. And for everyone else out there, all Germans or non-Germans that already live the life that fulfills them, this is maybe a beautiful eye-opener to appreciate what you got even more, because it definitely is for me.
Yeah, oh, that's very nice. So what is my current situation now? Your eyes are...
They're a bit watery, because just as a I'm jumping the gun. No, I'm jumping.
You're jumping the gun.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm jumping.
You can jump the gun.
Obviously, like if you haven't been subscribed to this channel and you haven't seen our videos yet, we are married. We are very happily married, and Jen has been a true source of inspiration for me. And her journey, but also her everyday approach to life is for me very, very admiring. And that's why I get pipi in meine Augen.
Pipi in meine Augen. That's such a cute German thing to say. I get watery eyes. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, you're making me blush here. So I currently live in Germany. I've been living in Germany since 2012. I am a happy human being, happily married. I earn, I think, a more than average salary. I am able to invest money, save money, travel. And this was always a dream ever since I was a kid, because I grew up quite poor in Guatemala. My father died when I was very young. So that left a single mom to support me fully with no university education, no career. She was a stay-at-home mom ever since I was a baby, and she had not been working for some time. So that, so she had to take the reins in that one and fight to give me education, food on the table, and all these things, right? And ever since I was a kid, I always thought there has to be a better life. This can't be it, right? I saw my mom hustling super hard to give me education. I was lucky enough to go to a private school in Guatemala. I was lucky enough to go to the university with a lot of effort and pain, I would say, because it wasn't easy to pay that monthly subscription or monthly fee every month. So I always had this inner fight in me that I have to have a better life, right? So for a lot of reasons, maybe that you may or may not know, I left Guatemala, one of them being that I cannot be fully openly gay in Guatemala. It's just not a no-go. Economically speaking, salary-wise is not very good. Also, governmentally speaking, it's also a mess. Currently, with the whole pandemic, I realize how lucky I actually am to live in Germany, because people are dying in Guatemala quite often, and it's super expensive. There's families that have debts of $400,000 or $40,000, not $400, but $40,000 in debt, which is a lot just to have healthcare. That is super crazy.
So this was a little introduction to know where she is now and where she was coming from. And now, Jen, why don't you tell us the steps you took to make it to Germany, but also the steps you took when you entered Germany that actually, give you the opportunity to be where you are now.
Okay, so a very big thing for me was to be in the country legally. Some of you might laugh, but it's actually a thing, because a lot of Latin American people, they immigrate to the US. That's like the one place because it's the closest to home, and they do most of the time that illegally. So that leads to so many complications when they stay there for such a long time. So one of the criteria for me is to do it legally, because I did not want to jump the system, right? I wanted to be in the system, kind of. And I found a very great opportunity in university through an association called IESEC. IESEC is a university association global-wide, actually, and they provide the opportunity to do internships around the world. So through ISEC, there were opportunities to do internships in Brazil, in where else, other Latin American countries, Russia, Turkey, Hungary, and other places. I personally did not want to go to Russia, again, because of the whole queer thing. Turkey seemed a little bit too exotic for me. I know Guatemala, right? But it seemed just too exotic. And Hungary, I don't know why. It just said, okay, that sounds European enough.
Well, it's in the EU, right?
It's in the UA, so maybe that would, yeah. So I took the opportunity in Hungary to be an intern in I was actually teaching, it was super weird. So I studied in the university, like hotel and restaurant management, because I wanted to travel the world and leave Guatemala. And I thought this is a career that will let me, because there's hotels everywhere, right? It will let me travel the world. However, if you want to work in a hotel, like in the front desk, you need to speak the language of that country, obviously. And if you want to be a manager or anything like higher up, you again need to speak the language.
And get more experience.
Get more experience. Yeah. And in the hotel industry, it really happens that, at least in Guatemala, what I experienced, that a manager is there for 40 years, and until he retires, you get the opportunity to actually scale, like go one step above, right? So I left Guatemala, I went to Hungary. I worked as an English teacher teaching tourism for an Ausbildung. Ausbildung is kind of like after high school studies.
Yeah.
An apprenticeship kind of school. Funny enough, all the kids there, which were between 18 and 21 years old, none of them spoke English. So I don't know how they hired an English teacher to teach tourism when none of them spoke English. So at the end, it came very clear that they wanted an English teacher, not a tourism teacher. And I was no teacher, right? No. Yeah. So that was quite challenging. In this internship, I made a whooping 344 euros a month. Hungary is relatively cheap, right? My rent was 150 euros. So that left me 150 euros to buy groceries. And strangely, now thinking back, I don't even know how I did it, but I also still had money to travel. Because, train tickets between like Hungary and Poland and all these other Eastern European countries tend to be a lot cheaper. So we would gather with friends and we would take the cheapest train ride or bus ride to go to another country and explore.
And you mainly stayed in the Eastern European countries, right?
Of course, because you take 150 euros and you come to Germany, it's gone in like a dinner and the train ride, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So I was an intern for 8 months, and I did not want to go back to Guatemala. I wanted to stay in Europe. That was my dream, right? Like I wanted to stay here, but I didn't want to stay fully in Hungary. So it was a big debate of what do I do? I couldn't find a job anywhere else. So I met actually in a party a guy who worked for this company called Tata Consultancy Services, and he was telling me how he had tons of international coworkers. So I asked him, well, is there a chance for me to work there? I'm an international possibly co-worker. And he hooked me up actually with the manager there. And I got my interview. It was a process. And I would say a month before my visa expired, I got the job offer. It was very, very short call.
And that was kind of like your only chance, right?
That was my only chance. It was either
you laid all eggs in one basket.
Yeah, because there were no other baskets to lay the eggs into, really. There was no other chance. That was a one shot, really. Like Eminem says, one shot, one opportunity in the song. And I got that job. And that job was also very grueling because it was actually a call center, a help desk, and there the schedule would change every week. And the worst schedule of it all was from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. and you needed to do that from Monday to Friday. And that was alternating every 3 weeks you would have to have this hardcore morning, night shift. So I did that for like a year, actually. And throughout that year, every evening or every chance I got, I would send applications to other European countries, Germany being one of them, one of the hardest ones that I would just send applications, try to find jobs where my skills would match, either in Spanish or English. Look at everywhere in portals, right? That's why when I say in the video about how to find a job in Germany without speaking German, really for me,
apply.
For me, it was really apply. I think I sent, if I would look at my emails, maybe 500 applications, just sending, and not just like sending spam, right? Like really applying, preparing my CV, writing cover letters, trying to be creative. How can I catch the attention of the people that I'm applying to? And there was one company that replied. One company in Dusseldorf who said they have an opening for the Spanish market. And if I would be willing to travel to Dusseldorf for an interview. And I was like, they're taking me to Dusseldorf for an interview?
Of course I am.
And I was like, whoa. So I got on the plane. I came to Dusseldorf. I saw Dusseldorf for the very first time. And mind you, at that moment, I had not traveled to any European, Western European country. I had only seen kind of like the East. Austria being the only one that I had seen, Vienna, and Vienna is in its own magic, right? It's a very beautiful, pretty. So compared Budapest to Dusseldorf, I was like, whoa, this is such a different place. A lot more cleaner, obviously. Things just seemed a lot more abundant, right? Like it looked super different compared to my Budapest life. I went to that interview. There was multiple rounds. I flew back to Budapest. I waited anxiously for that phone call. I remember I was in a beer garden kind of thing with some friends when my phone rang, and I got that call. Ooh. I got that call. I got the job in Dusseldorf. They gave me the good news, and my life changed that day. I would say I packed my bags. I came to Germany, and here I started earning also very little money. Right through this help desk center, I was earning then a whooping 800 euros. So to get a salary in Budapest still. So the German job would pay me, I would say, I don't remember fully now, but I would say maybe like a 1,400 or
I would say so.
So from 800 to 1,400 in a very different culture place, right? For me, was just life-changing. I thought it was the opportunity of my life.
But of course, also the living cost increase in Germany, right?
Yes, of course.
But let's hold on. Let me just pause you for a second. So, basically, Hungary for you was like a stepping stone to fight for basically for your life to make Germany a reality.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was your hustle and grind and never giving up to make that happen.
Yes, and of course there were days when I would like be so frustrated, right? Because like no one would reply, like no one, like not even a no, nothing. Days would pass by. Very few companies actually let you know that you're not a good candidate or even tell you why. And Dusseldorf, Hungary was a stepping stone for a lot of reasons. Hungarian is very hard. Culturally wise, they were so different as well. I come from Guatemala, which is a very warm and Latino. I'm not saying Germany is super warm and Latino, but I would
warmer
say
than Hungary.
Yeah, but I would say a little bit warmer than Hungary. Yes, not weather-wise, but people-wise. Maybe weather-wise too. Yeah, so Hungary was always a stepping stone to come to Germany. Germany, why Germany? I chose Germany because of the whole, to be honest, because it's a very stable country to live in, right? With so many perks and benefits. I didn't want to go all the way to the north because I thought that may be too cold, like Denmark or Norway.
Why not Spain?
Spain, it was super hard also for Spain because Spanish people already have Spanish-speaking people, right? And English is not, there's not so many jobs for English speakers. And if so, they were very strict in the requirements of you needed to have a visa or a European passport. It was really, really hard to enter Spain in that way. So, so Germany...
So basically the company in Dusseldorf also sponsored your visa?
Yes, they had to sponsor my visa.
Which is actually not that unusual, right? Because if companies are looking for foreign workers, they are most likely also willing to sponsor a visa because it's... I mean, honestly, I don't know, but I would think it's not that expensive as maybe in some other countries.
Maybe. I think it's still an investment for a company, but like you mentioned, because of the demand of international workers, they're willing to do it more than in other countries, for sure. So my life in Dusseldorf started then in 2012. And I was in this job for 4 years. And I realized quite quickly, because I was also their customer service for a Spanish e-commerce site. So I had to do a lot of, luckily this was not much by phone, but a lot of emails. And I always wanted to grow to the next level. I wanted to be more in the technical department, more inclined into more kind of the development stuff. But very quickly I realized that in this company, because the main headquarters were in Canada and we were just here, a very small office. So the chance of growing into this role, it didn't really work out. They didn't have positions in Europe for that. Transferring me to Canada was super complicated.
I would say they just didn't have like this growth mindset of investing in their people.
Yeah, also. Yeah. So I hit the ceiling pretty high, and I just saw that I could do better.
Ceiling pretty fast.
Oh, pretty high. I hit it pretty high. Pretty high like here. So then came the whole dilemma of
finding another job.
Yes, finding another job. And again came the whole dilemma, how can I find another job when I don't speak German fluently? So again, I hit that roadblock once again in my life. And that happened, I would say for a year that I was, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's just describe real quick, how did you live in Germany, right? Because we talk a lot about also how to find a place. And I think in my mind, I have you now and not back then. But back then, I think you lived in a WG, right? You shared a flat and you had a very small room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had a WG, which was from a woman, actually, that the company recommended, an Argentinian woman, who she has several apartments in Dusseldorf, and then you rent them from her. And I would say now that I know a little bit more of the laws and everything, what she does is not 100% legal because it's a very limited contract. She increases the rent quite often. There's a lot of things that now I know and I wish I would have known there that could be better. So yes, it's a WG. I was sharing it with another girl. We had a tiny kitchen, which is not even a kitchen. We had just like a cooker.
A camping cooker, no?
Yeah, like a camping cooker. Yeah. A very tiny fridge.
So it was also, I would say, very low standard for Germany, right?
Yes, yeah. I would also agree. Yeah, and I knew there was better, right? Because I started to make more friends, and I saw more friends had a better life, right? And I'm like, what are they doing different than I am, right? And like I said, I always knew that I can grow. So back to my job search again, I got this like roadblock again of, okay, I need a new job. And at that moment, I could only renew my residence permit by having a new contract with a new company. So it was really necessary for me to have a new job if I wanted to grow, or I could stay there until I would get my permanent residence, which is like 5 years, and be super frustrated. So I took the challenge, and after like a lot of thinking, applying, considering, and whatnot. I think I remember by then we worked together, and I told you, you know what? I've always wanted to be a developer. I've always wanted to learn how like websites work, to build them. And Ivan told me like, well, why don't you? And I was like, I don't know. And that really motivated me to find ways to learn how to code. So I'm a self-taught developer. And I did an online boot camp, which I paid with my own pocket and my savings and what I had made also in my previous job. I did tons of courses. I learned on my own. I built a website for a friend in Guatemala.
And this was all like after hours, right? You kept your job because without the job you wouldn't have the residence permit.
Yes.
And I mean, I was already there, so I witnessed that, and it was long hours. It was like, I would say every weekend, 3 times during the week, where you hustled, and you really fought for what you wanted, which again allows you a better life.
Yeah, and I think by the time I did that project with my friend in Guatemala, I'm like, okay, I need to find a job because I think I can do this, and I started applying, and I applied, and I didn't get a job. And I was like...
Although you have this skill that everyone wants, right?
And the problem lies, back in the day, I really don't know how the market works now. I hope it's different. But back in the day is that because I was a junior developer, like with no experience, all the job applications were like 2 years plus experience. And I'm like, but how can I get a 2-year plus experience when there's no opportunity for me to even get a 0, like a 1 plus experience? None of the people were willing to give me an internship. None of them were willing to, none of them had like a junior developer program per se. And again, I looked at my email a few months back, and I looked at applications that I sent I think I applied for like 6 months, and there's more than 120 applications in there. So I searched everywhere and anywhere for, you need a developer, here in my application. We even did videos to apply to some
Yes, we did
companies,
videos, video
which didn't work.
But just to highlight that, I think now the market has changed a lot, especially for developing. Back in the day, I mean, you were before. Now, if you look now, there are like an abundance of boot camps, physical and online, in English, in Germany, sometimes even financed by the government if you're like unemployed.
So different than what it was before,
That didn't exist back in the day. So even to find that online boot camp that you could participate in, and that was actually, you could also afford in a way, that was already like a hard search. And I would say that also the boot camps nowadays, they prepare you better to enter the job market, and they have like relationships, like how do you say, partnerships with companies. So I would say nowadays the transition to a job, I would hope also that it's
better.
easier.
Yeah. If you are one of these self-taught developers recently, I'm curious to know, is it better? Until actually around the corner from where we live, there's a media agency, and we had already looked at it, and you know what, I'll just apply.
And there was there a job written out?
No, there was no job written out.
You just applied, right?
They were looking for developers, and I wrote to them. I'm like, look, I'm looking for an internship. I'm looking to be a developer, actually. I see you're looking. And they replied, we see your experience is not so good, but would you be interested in an internship? And I'm like, yes.
A traineeship.
A traineeship. Yeah. Yes, please. When can I start? And I took that job, and that job meant if I was earning... That job meant really taking a step back financially because...
from the customer service role.
From the customer service role, because where I was earning at that point maybe 1,500 maximum per month netto, that traineeship paid me 800 euros.
I'm not quite sure. It paid you less.
It paid me a lot less. Luckily, by then we had shared expenses together, right? So, but obviously then we couldn't travel so much. We had to save a lot more. And I did the traineeship for a year. And then I got the junior role, which then my salary increased a little bit more. Then I outgrew, I would say, the agency's roles, and I wanted to have a more permanent position because in the media agency, the projects would come and go super fast. And I wanted to have a project that would be like a long-term project working for software that, was there. And then that's when I got my second job as a developer where my salary doubled.
It doubled, and so the step back for 1 year made you step 3 steps ahead afterwards.
Yeah.
So it was also there again a lot of hard work and a lot of time investment and willingness to accomplish that, but I would say you need to step back to actually like a little catapult, right? To jump forward and in way higher and stronger forms than you could if you stayed in the road that you are.
Yeah, I agree. And now I'm I would say how much, maybe on my 6th year of developing, 5th year?
Yeah, 7th.
Or so. So now I would be considered like a senior developer. And now it's super interesting because in my LinkedIn profile, I think I mentioned this the other day, now I actually get contacted on a regular basis from companies wanting to hire me. So it's the other way around, kind of. So now I work for a startup. I am an app developer. I transitioned into app development recently. I am a happy bee. I have flexible working hours. I have a job that challenges me, pays very well. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have arrived to the dream that I had when I was a kid.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for opening up. I mean, we discussed actually for quite some time whether we should do this kind of video or not. But this is, I would say, Simple Germany is also a way to give back for you, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's also obviously a way to embark on a new adventure and embark also owning our own business.
Yeah.
But definitely also by giving back our experience, your experience, and helping others that might be in your shoes already or wanting to be in your shoes, right? So why did we again do this video? I find it super inspirational, and it's just important for others to know that there is no direct way, that there you might need to take detours, you might need to take steps back, but always believe in your goal that you have to accomplish it, and that it is possible if you fight for it, and if you don't give up. If you don't give up, that's basically it.
Yeah, you got to keep on it. So if you're out there and you're wondering, can I do this? You can.
And also one opportunity, like if you take one step, opportunities arise that weren't there before. Right? You probably would have not been able to do this online bootcamp if you would not have been in Germany.
Yes.
You wouldn't have had the mindset and all the financial means.
Yes, of course. So every step you take in life will bring you closer to your goal if that's what you're fighting for, right? So little pieces come and then you're able to stack up, right?
Yeah. So this is a completely different type of video that we did here, and I'm not gonna ask you to like or anything. Just do whatever you want with it, because we just wanted to share that story, to motivate you, hopefully, to open your eyes, and to maybe reflect a little bit on where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah. So in that note, we hope you have a very nice week. Keep at it. See you next Monday. Cheers!